Welcome to the New School of Marketing podcast, the place for smart, simple strategies that will amplify your business results. Sharing practical tips, insider knowledge, and actionable advice because marketing is something that every business owner can do. Now, let's get started. Introducing your host, Bianca McKenzie, mum, lover of snow sports, camping, horse riding, and in-demand launch strategist and Facebook advertising knowledge bank.
Welcome to the New School of Marketing podcast. I'm Bianca McKenzie, and today I'm talking about living a Technicolour life with Lorraine Hamilton. Lorraine Hamilton is a Scottish gal based in New Zealand, mother of teenage daughters, author of 3 books, including her latest entitled Dye Your Hair Purple Sooner, former radio frequency engineer and lover of tea, cake, and firefly. She started coaching in 2006 and loved it from that moment. She now has a multi-six-figure coaching business, which is entirely location independent, and she loves that she gets to make a living from making a difference. Welcome to the show, Lorraine. I'm so excited to have you here.
I am super excited to be here, Bianca. It feels like it's been a long time coming.
It has been. And now it's here. I'm super excited about that. Yay. So let's dive in and let's talk all about living a Technicolour life and making a difference and everything. But first, you are called the Coach's Coach. Tell us a little bit about where this title comes from.
It's funny, actually. It's a title and an identity that I've resisted for a long time. But even from when I very first started coaching, which was 2006, and depending on when you're listening to this, we're recording it in 2021. So 15 years ago, I started coaching. And then I did the coaching training, and then I had to figure out how to make the business bit work. And I discovered that quite early on, other coaches were looking at what I was doing and they were asking me for help and saying, how are you doing that? And I'd be like, well, I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out myself, but I would be a couple of steps ahead of where they were at and they'd be asking me what I was doing. And so all the way through my coaching career, I've always coached and mentored other coaches. And I resisted it for a long time. It felt a little bit like MLM to me. It was like, I'm just feeding this industry. But I got over that because, I do adore the industry. I think that as coaches, we're empowering people to literally change the world, and to be a small part of that is something that I take really, really seriously, and I feel really, really grateful for. And so I have embraced it over the years to the point where I became a coach trainer. So I've been training and certifying coaches through ICF accredited training for the last 4 years. So I'm embracing it now. I am the coach's coach, and I'm here to serve the industry for sure.
You totally are. And I love it how you've just kind of it's like a full circle right now.
Yeah, totally.
Awesome. And I kind of mentioned it in your bio, but you've just written a book named Dye Your Hair Purple Sooner, 5 Steps to Becoming the Leader of Your Technicolour Life. For anyone obviously listening, you can't see, but Lorraine always has very colourful hair. So it's such an appropriate title for the book because, yes, most of the time your hair is purple or pink or some other shade, mostly purple and pink, I think. But yeah, what is a Technicolour life?
Well, let me backtrack a little bit and I'll try and explain the title of the book. So I was on another podcast actually about a year ago, and we had gone through the whole thing about my hair because people ask me about my hair all the time, and people hire me because of my hair. and it always makes me laugh. So when I'm talking to a new client or a new student, and I'll say, so what attracted you to me, doing my market research as you do, and they'll say, your hair. And I'm like, really? I've got quite a body of work now. I do a lot of training and experience. I've been doing this for a long time. Really, it's the hair. And of course, it's not the hair. It's what the hair represents to those people. And what that represents is that I'm doing life on my terms. I am I'm living what I call my Technicolour life, which is that everything is tuned to the perfect channel for me to be at my best. So I'm doing work that I love to do. I am surrounded by people that I love and that inspire me. I have freedom and flexibility in my schedule. I'm challenging myself personally. So really, the Technicolour life piece is having the awareness of what is it that you really truly want your life to look like, and what do you need to do in order for that to happen? So what discomfort do you need to put yourself in order to get there sooner? So I'd been on this podcast and we told this story about my hair, and then at the end, and I don't know if you're going to do this to me or not, Bianca, but on podcasts sometimes they throw these like last minute questions at you that you're not expecting, and this podcast host did the same thing, and it was quite a kind question though. She said, what is the advice that you would give your former self? And I instantly said, dye your hair purple sooner, because it represented stepping into that real genuine and authentic me a lot sooner than I actually did. Yeah. And that's what a Technicolour life is. And that's what the book is about. It's like, what do you wish you had done? When was that moment when you just stepped into bravery, stepped into courage, took that step towards what it is that you really, truly want? And when I said that, the podcast host said, "Oh, that's brilliant. That's the title of your next book." And I went, okay.
Wow.
And then, of course, I had to go and write a book.
Yes. I love that. That's brilliant. That is actually brilliant. I love that. That's such a good story, because I know people sit and wonder what to call their book for so long, and it's so applicable to you as well as the whole Technicolour part of it. All right. So how does it really fit in with your work? Like when you work with clients and, being the coach's coach, how does the whole, because you spoke about that you've been mentoring other coaches with the whole business part of thing, but how does this part fit in with your work?
So I often use this term, and I've been coining this phrase for as long as I can remember, this idea of making a living from making a difference. I just think it is the most amazing way to work my way through the world. Now, before I was a coach, I was an engineer, and I designed mobile phone networks for a living. And, there was a lot about that I really enjoyed as well. I loved the technical aspects. I loved the sort of like geeking out over the tech and making things work. And it's like, it is amazing that your mobile phone works at all, by the way, just saying. but as the companies got bigger, the way that I worked was I was in before the company was even formed. We were building the product. We were building the network that was going to be the product ultimately. And as the companies grew and built around us, and the sales team came in, and then the HR team developed, and all this huge company was born out of the product that I was building, I felt less and less connected to the difference that I was making for the end user.
Yeah.
And with coaching, you're really in it. I'm really in it, making a difference with the person that is in front of me. I'm helping them break through their blocks and obstacles to their making a living from making a difference when I'm working with other coaches. And I do work with other clients as well, but I work with a lot of coaches. And the ripple effect of helping other people to step into their Technicolour life, that empowers them to then go and make a difference. And so there's this massive ripple effect that happens from doing the work that I do. And, I really don't take that for granted.
I love that. And I was sort of thinking about, as you were talking about this, how anyone listening could, think about this in their business, but also like in their life, like what difference are you making? Because sometimes, and I've had this in the past, I'm like, I don't know, I'm not like you don't really recognize that you're making a difference in someone's life. I don't know. I didn't always realize that. I know that I am now.
Yeah.
Even though it's in a different way, I love the clients that I work with because I see that they make a difference. So in a way that I work to help them make a difference in some people's lives. I make a difference in my clients' lives. But then, as you said, the ripple effect, and that's where my passion often comes from, is the type of clients that I work with. They really make a difference in people's lives. And for me to be able to play a small part in that and have that ripple effect. But yeah, I think it'd be really good for people who are listening to sort of think about, okay, what difference are you making in someone's life? Even if it is, brightening up someone's life with beautiful products. Yeah, we are all making somewhat of a difference. But I don't think we really think about it too often. So do you have any sort of tips on that, how other people can sort of step into making that difference, but also living, that's probably two questions. Also living their Technicolour life, because I guess that's a much broader question. Do you have any tips for that?
Yeah, I think it's, we hear this phrase all the time of, what's your why? What's your why? And I actually struggled with it for a long time.
So do I.
That my why wasn't important enough or whatever. And I think thinking about the ripple effect of what your product, what your service, what it brings and what it allows the end user to be able to do can be an accessible way of thinking about that. And I also wanted to add in that if you have a team, also thinking about how to connect your team with the impact that your company is making. And that was something that I was able to do in my last engineering job before I went full-time into my business. Was I took my team through the same processes of really connecting what was most important to them with what we were trying to achieve as a business. So there's a whole process, and I go through the whole process in the book of how to uncover what is most important to you and how to connect that with what you're doing, and really creating goals that are connected with you on an emotional level so that you can see them through. And that idea of your why comes from that as well. It's like, where are you making a difference? And even if you think it's a small difference, thinking about what does that allow your end user to be able to do or feel or say, or and just play with that. I'm getting caught up because I'm passionate about it. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, no. I love that. And I was actually thinking back of to my previous jobs where I worked in universities, and I went to talk to high school students about their options to go to university and course choices. And of course, it's all related to what kind of score they get. And then if they don't get the score, they get really disappointed, but then helping them find other options. And I was actually always really passionate about that because I felt like I was making a difference in someone's life, helping them navigate the university system. And but I think when we're in our own business, it becomes a whole different level, and it becomes in a way much more personal. And gosh, the amount of work we have to do on ourselves, the mindset work that we have to do on ourselves, it's so much easier to sort of connect that you're doing something that makes a difference when you're in a job, and because you're not as attached to it. But when it's your own business, you're so attached to it, and yeah, we might feel like we're not making a massive difference. And I felt like that for a long time, because when you read a lot of the stuff, or you like see a lot of the things, and you talk about, when people talk about their why, you always feel like it has to be this big thing, like you have to like touch millions of lives. And sometimes it's not like that. And I actually said this to another business friend yesterday, that if you can only change one person's life, haven't you already achieved something? So I don't know, we are all making a difference, aren't we, in some way?
Definitely. And this might be quite a useful thing for your listeners, because there's an exercise that I do. Again, it's in the book, and I do it with all my clients, but I also do it with myself. So whenever I'm creating something new, I actually try and find 50 reasons why. So instead of thinking of what's my reason why, what's my one thing, think of as many as you can, because then there isn't so much pressure on finding that one reason.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, find 50.
Yeah, I think that's great. And yeah, we are, of course, all in business to make somewhat of an impact, and also to, in a way, and this is one of my whys, is to make an impact on my own life. Like I have a certain set of values and a certain set of goals, and most of them rotate around freedom. But like we have to sort of recognize that sometimes we might only touch one other life. Most of the time, and this is going to go a whole different way if we go this way, it's probably because of marketing and you're not actually reaching enough people. But if you could only change one person's life, I think that is already important, and we need to not forget that. So
yeah, because if you're changing one person's life, they might go on to change a million lives.
Yeah, I love that. That's amazing. Okay, so there's 5 steps in your book. Do you want to share one of them or 2?
Yeah, so there are 5 steps. There's discover. I'll just give you a spoiler. So there is discover, align, navigate, communicate, and empower. So we're doing this dance to create your Technicolour life, and coaching is often described as dancing in the moment with your client. So that's where that acronym comes from. And really the biggest part of the work is in the first 2. So discovering what you really want. We've got so much conditioning. We've been brought up to believe that success equals status and money and various things. So we need to unpack a whole load of stuff to get to what is it that success means to me as an individual. What do I want my life to look like? And you've described that you've spent a lot of time working on creating freedom and space in your life, and it's not necessarily all about the money or the having the house and 3 holidays a year or whatever it is. So really getting to grips and being really honest with ourselves about what do I want. That's the first thing. And then aligning that with, okay, how do I get there? Aligning what I want with my values, with any other work that I need to do in terms of undoing some conditioning. So really that discover and align are the very personal, that's the personal nature of getting clear on what you want your Technicolour life to look like. Navigate then becomes, okay, let's make some plans to put that in place. We need to do some communication often with ourselves first, and then communicating what we want right across the marketing channels as well. They're thinking about communicating what you want to yourself, what you want to the people around you, and then out into the world, and then empowering yourself to take the steps that you need to take to really embrace and embody your Technicolour life, and it will be unique for everyone.
I love that, and I feel like I now need to go and read your book and go through all of it again. I would do this stuff probably every year, really, and go back to my why and all the steps and all the goals, but I always feel like I can go deeper, and I don't know. I feel like there's more layers to unpeel there in my sort of side of things.
It really is lifelong work. It is lifelong work that I'm constantly going back and revisiting it as well. There's always more that I can unpack for myself. So, being curious and giving yourself permission to be always curious about what else is going on. There's always something else that you can learn, and even doing the same work over and over, you're at a different place in your life, so you get something different from doing the same work over and over. I mean, I'm part of a team, and we run regular retreats, and we have participants who come every single year to the same retreat. It's the same program, it's the same people, everything's the same, but they get something different out of it every single time they come.
Yeah, they would. I can totally imagine that. Yeah. For us, you know, for you, it might be like, oh, why are you here again? But yeah, no, we do get something different out of it. And we are at different stages. If I think just back more than, I don't know, 4 years ago, before my daughter, it's like my life is very different. My goals were very different. I had no idea what life would look like with a child. Whereas now I feel like I'm a little bit more conservative in like, or my goals are not necessarily as lofty kind of thing, because there's other things to think about, and my life just looks different. Like it's still all about freedom, but in a different way. It's a different kind of, of freedom.
I just want to sort of pick up on that word, you know, when you said, oh, my goals are not necessarily as lofty. I imagine that they are equally as lofty. It's just they don't fit with the traditional, what we're told success looks like.
Yeah, fair enough, totally. And I'm pretty sure I saw this in a group recently. I think we're both in. Maggie Gila, who said, or he posted something along the lines of, you know, your why might just be making X amount of money and, you know, going on one holiday with your family, or it might be touching the lives of thousands of people. And whatever it is fine, because it is you. And I love that your book name is Dye Your Hair Purple Sooner, because it's like, yeah, do you do you.
Yeah. And, you know, another thing that I'll share with you is that my why has changed. You know, my why has evolved over the years. My why today is not my why 15 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, because everything looks different.
My why was freedom. It was get me out of my corporate job. Now I'm out of my corporate job. It's like, okay, my why changes. And now I'm where I'm at today is looking at something that is probably the biggest why that I've ever had. And it's still kind of formulating. So also, you know, your why today doesn't need to be your why in 5 years' time.
I love that. And yeah, I think that is a good way to sort of wrap up. I really love that, because even I have always been stuck in this. You need to have this big why, and like it's like the answer to your life or something like that. And it's like it needs to be with you for like the length of your life kind of thing. And I love that. No, it doesn't have to be. Your why doesn't have to be that, and it can change, and it doesn't always like it, and it doesn't have to be. Yeah.
Well, here's something
society
fun
believes, like something big.
If you're struggling with the why question, then you know something to play with is ask yourself every day, what's my why today?
Yeah.
What's my reason for being today? And it doesn't need to be so big.
Yeah. And I love that, because mine isn't necessarily like big compared to, like, you know, you see on people's websites, I want to you know, make 1 million women's lives better. Like I think that's a really good why, but my why is kind of more about my life.
Yeah.
And I feel like, because the way I look at it as well, it's a place I can start. It doesn't feel too big for me. And I know that if I work on my own why and my own life and improving my own life first, I know there'll be that ripple effect, but I also know that then I will be more comfortable and more confident to then take on bigger missions.
Yeah, it comes back to that, you know, it's got a different connotation now after the pandemic, but put your own mask on first. It used to be when you're on the airplane, you know, and you put your own mask on first. And I'm a big proponent of that as well. It's like you can't have a huge impact if you're not in business. So if your why is so big that it's stopping you from doing what you need to do in order to get there, then you're not going to be in business. Or if your why is going to burn you out, then you're not going to be in business to make that impact.
Yeah.
So, you know, this is what I love about the work that I do. It's like, well, how can we frame what you're trying to achieve in a way that is motivating for you so that you can keep moving forward?
Yeah, I love that. I've always loved all of your work, and like, honestly, people go and read the book because what I have learned over the past, well, how long have we been friends?
I don't know, a long time.
5, 6, 7 years, I don't know. Yeah, quite a while. And what I have learned over the past few years, in terms of, mindset, goals, I have learned from Lorraine. So making a living from making a difference, even though that sounds like a big statement, but you can make it as big as you want. And like all of the mindset work that comes with that, I have learned from Lorraine. So yeah, I am going to swing some questions at you, Lorraine.
Oh, okay.
I asked this from everyone. So what are you curious about right now?
Everything. I'm always curious. It's my job to be curious. I'm curious about everything. We could be here for a long time.
Love it. And if you had an extra $1,000 in your marketing budget, what would you spend it on?
Facebook ads and reaching more coaches that need a place to feel confident and empowered to go out and actually do the job, because the job does change lives and it's changing the world.
Yeah, I love that. And just to sort of tack on to that, because when you say coaches, I don't see myself as a coach, but at the same time, in a way, sometimes I am a coach. So it is coaches that are certified coaches or people that want to be coaches, but also kind of like leaders and mentors, right? Like it doesn't have to have the certificate.
Yeah, I love working with people who are taking a coaching approach in their work.
Yeah.
When they're taking that, when they're recognizing that, yes, their clients are hiring them for their expertise, but sometimes they don't have all the answers, and sometimes they want more tools to get. So it's really helping your clients get the best out of you.
Yeah.
And sometimes your clients have got these blocks and obstacles and things. And when you've got a few coaching skills in your toolkit, then you can really prime them to get the best from working with you. So, I want to work with all the coaches. I want you to, at every level, whether you're certified, whether you're not certified, whether you're curious, just, the industry needs a safe place for people to come and explore every level of coaching, and that's what I want to create.
Oh, that's what you already have created.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think we should wrap it up. Everyone should go and read your book and find out all about you. So thank you so much for being on the show, Lorraine. I really loved having you.
Thank you for having me.
So if anyone has any questions about living a Technicolour life or wants to find out more about what Lorraine does, head on over to lorrainehamilton.net. I'll put it all in the show notes as well. A really big thanks for listening. And if you like the show, don't forget to subscribe and leave a 5-star rating and review on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you heard the podcast. Your review will help others find the show and learn more about the amazing world of online marketing. And don't forget to check out the show notes for this episode at newschoolofmarketing.com, where you can find links and learn more about Lorraine, download free resources, and leave a comment about the show.